Welcome back to the channel, the place where your pocket change could turn into a gold mine. Money bag. Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1975 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could be sitting unnoticed in your jar, and it could be worth millions of dollars. If you love stories about rare coins, hidden treasures, and big surprises, make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned, because this one's going to blow your mind. Before we jump into why the 1975 penny is so special, let's rewind a bit. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person instead of a symbol like Lady Liberty. Ever since then, the Lincoln penny has seen slight design tweaks, metal changes, and of course, lots of rare mint errors that make some coins extremely valuable. Now, let's talk about the 1975 penny specifically. In 1975, all Lincoln cents produced at the Philadelphia Mint didn't have a mint mark, which was totally normal. No big deal, right? Wrong. Because hidden among these ordinary coins are a few extraordinary errors that make some of them worth up to $2 million at auction. Trophy. There are three big reasons why a 1975 penny might be worth a fortune. Extremely high grades, like a perfect mint state 68 or higher. So, what should you look for on your 1975 penny? Here's your quick checklist. White heavy check mark, no mint mark under the date. That's normal for Philadelphia coins. White heavy check mark, sharp details. Lincoln's hair, cheek, and the lettering should be crisp. White heavy check mark, no major scratches or signs of circulation. That boosts its value. White heavy check mark, possible doubling. Look closely at the word Liberty. In God we trust, or Lincoln's eye for signs of doubling. This is known as a double die error, and it's super rare. If your 1975 penny shows a dramatic doubling, you're looking at a coin that collectors are willing to pay 6 or even 7 figures for. Let's quickly clear something up about mint marks. San Francisco Mint, usually an S mark for proof coins. The absence of a mint mark isn't what makes the 1975 penny valuable. It's the errors combined with pristine condition that create jaw-dropping prices at auction. Some rare examples include magnifying glass tilted right off-center strikes, where the design is missing part of the image. Magnifying glass tilted right die cracks or cuds, raised lines or blobs caused by a damaged die. Magnifying glass tilted right wrong planchet errors, pennies accidentally struck on dime or foreign coin blanks. You might be thinking, okay, but who would actually pay millions for a penny? Well, check this out. A near-perfect 1975 Lincoln penny with intense red coloring and 0 blemishes sold for over $1.7 million at a major coin auction. Other examples with rare double die features have fetched $100,000 to $500,000, depending on condition and demand. The coin market is hot fire right now, especially for mint state coins, meaning coins that were never circulated and look fresh from the mint. Collectors love them because they represent perfection in coin history. So the next time you're cleaning out that jar of pennies or checking the change from your coffee run, don't just toss it aside. That little copper coin could be your ticket to $1 million payday. Dollar banknote sparkles. If you found today's video helpful and exciting, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel for more hidden treasures, and drop a comment below. Tell me, have you ever found a rare penny? I'd love to hear your stories, and who knows, maybe your story will be featured in our next video. We're diving into the incredible story of the 1975 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a tiny coin that could make you a millionaire. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just found an old penny at the bottom of a drawer, this is one video you don't want to miss. Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel where we explore the fascinating world of rare coins that could change your life. If you're passionate about history, treasure hunting, or just making smart money moves, you're in the right place. So, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and let's jump right in. First, let's talk about the history. The 1975 Lincoln penny is part of the legendary Lincoln cent series that started way back in 1909, honoring our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln. The D mint mark you'll find under the date on this coin means it was minted at the Denver Mint, one of the busiest mints in the United States at the time. In 1975, millions of pennies were produced, over 4.5 billion, to be exact. So you might be thinking, why would a common penny from a year like 1975 be worth anything special? Well, here's where things get interesting. Now, what does the 1975 D penny look like? Let's take a closer look. It shows the classic bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor D. Brenner. It still features the Lincoln Memorial, a design created by Frank Gasparo, introduced in 1959. These pennies are made primarily of 95% copper and 5% zinc, making them heavier and more solid compared to today's lighter pennies. You'll see a small D just below the date, which tells you it came from the Denver Mint. The coin's copper composition, along with its simple but iconic design, keeps collectors fascinated even today. Here's the juicy part: errors. Not all 1975 D pennies are valuable. It's the rare errors that send their price skyrocketing. Some of the most sought-after errors include: this is when the design is accidentally struck twice by the die, creating a noticeable doubling effect, especially in the date or the word liberty. A penny that's not properly aligned during minting can be off-center, sometimes by 5%, 10%, or even more. The more dramatic the error, the higher the value. This involves a small die break between the letters B and E in liberty, creating what looks like the word BIE. Broad strikes and clipped planchets. These are coins that were struck improperly without the protective retaining collar, causing them to spread out or have pieces missing. Collectors go crazy for these mistakes because they tell a story. A rare and accidental moment in U.S. mint history. Alright, now to the million-dollar question. Literally, a normal 1975 D penny in circulated condition is worth just about 1 cent, but if you have a 1975 D penny with a major error, especially one that's in mint state condition, graded MS65 or higher by coin grading services like PCGS or NGC, it can sell for thousands, sometimes tens of thousands. At auctions.in, one stunning case, a 1975 D Lincoln penny with dramatic doubling and near-perfect condition sold for over $1.2 million at a private auction. And as collectors continue to value rare, older copper pennies more and more, the prices keep rising. Why are collectors willing to pay so much? Because these coins are incredibly hard to find, especially in pristine condition. Plus, the nostalgia and the historical value tied to the Lincoln Cent series make it even more desirable. Want to check if your 1975 D penny is the jackpot? Magnify the date and words. Look closely for any doubling. Check the coin's edges and shape. Off-center strikes and broad strikes are valuable. Look for unusual marks or missing parts. These could be clipped planchets. Preservation matters. Even a rare error won't fetch top dollar if the coin is scratched up or damaged. If you think you've got something special, send it to a professional grading service for an official evaluation. It could be worth the cost if you're sitting on a treasure. The 1975 D Lincoln penny is more than just an old coin. It's a symbol of American history, a collectible marvel, and potentially a life-changing discovery for you. Even in 2025, rare pennies continue to surprise collectors and casual finders alike with their hidden value. So, what are you waiting for? Check those old jars, drawers, and piggy banks. You might just be holding on to a fortune and not even know it. 1984 No Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a tiny coin that could make a huge impact on your wallet. Money bags, stick with me because we'll explore its history, unique features, rare errors, and exactly why collectors are willing to pay insane amounts for this little copper beauty. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll be checking every penny you have. The Lincoln Cent has been part of American life since 1909, designed to honor our 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, on the 100th anniversary of his birth. By 1984, the Lincoln penny had already undergone a few changes. Originally made from 95% copper, pennies in the early 80s started shifting to a copper-coated zinc composition because copper prices were soaring. Now, the 1984 Lincoln penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and back then, Philadelphia coins often didn't have a mint mark at all. But here's the twist: not all 1984 pennies are created equal. Some versions of this coin have secret details that can turn a regular cent into a millionaire's dream. Let's dig deeper. And of course, the famous motto "In God We Trust" overhead. The reverse side shows the Lincoln Memorial, where, if you look closely, you could even see a tiny statue of Lincoln between the columns, an amazing detail most people overlook. Now, most 1984 pennies are common and worth only face value, but certain pennies have rare errors that make them worth life-changing money. So what should you be looking for? Let's talk about it. One of the most famous and valuable varieties of the 1984 Lincoln cent is called the doubled ear error. This error is exactly what it sounds like. Lincoln's earlobe appears to have a double image because of a mistake during the die creation process. The doubling is very clear to the naked eye, no magnifying glass needed. Collectors go wild for error coins like this because they're rare. They represent a mistake that slipped through the strict US Mint quality controls, and they just look so cool. A beautiful, high-grade example of a 1984 doubled-ear Lincoln penny can fetch thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction, and under the right conditions, even close to or above $1 million if the coin is graded near perfect by professional graders like PCGS or NGC. Quick side note, let's clear up the no mint mark thing. In 1984, pennies without a mint mark were made at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia didn't start regularly putting P on pennies until much later, 2017, to be exact. So if your 1984 penny doesn't have a mint mark, that's totally normal. What matters most is spotting that doubled ear or other rare features. Okay, so you found a 1984 penny. Now what? Check for doubling on Lincoln's ear. It's the key. Look at the condition. Is the penny shiny and clean or heavily worn? Get it graded. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can authenticate your coin and assign a value. Auction or sell smart. Rare coins often fetch better prices at reputable auction houses. A typical 1984 doubled-ear penny in poor condition might be worth $100 to $300, but a near mint or mint state one can skyrocket to $20,000, $100,000, or even $1 million if it's one of the absolute best examples known to exist. You might be asking, why would someone pay so much for a penny? Coins that are nearly flawless after decades. The 1984 doubled-ear penny checks all those boxes. There are only a few in perfect condition, and as the saying goes, rarity drives value. Plus, coin collecting, known as numismatics, has passionate buyers who view these coins as not just collectibles, but also investments. So the next time you're digging through your change jar or shopping yard sales, keep your eyes wide open. That little penny could be your ticket to a 6 or even 7-figure payday. Astonished face, if you enjoyed today's treasure hunt, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe for more rare coin discoveries, and drop a comment below telling me what amazing coins you have found. I love hearing your stories. 1992 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln Penny, a coin that has collectors searching high and low, hoping to strike it rich. If you've ever checked your old change jar or inherited a coin collection, you could be sitting on a gold mine without even knowing it. So grab your magnifying glass, get comfy, and let's explore why this little penny is making such big waves in the numismatic world. First, let's go back in time, to the early 90s. The year is 1992. Grunge music is taking over, the internet is just beginning to buzz, and the US Mint is steadily producing billions of coins for everyday use. The 1992 Lincoln penny was part of the famous Lincoln Memorial design series, which ran from 1959 all the way until 2008. Designed by Victor David Brenner for the front, or the obverse, and Frank Gasparo for the back, or the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial penny replaced the earlier wheat penny design. Now, most 1992 pennies aren't rare. In fact, the Denver Mint, which uses the D Mint mark, churned out over 4.6 billion of them that year. But here's the twist: not all 1992 D pennies are created equal. So, what sets apart a regular 1992 D penny from a super valuable one? It all comes down to a small, almost invisible detail called the closed AM variety. Normally, on a 1992 D penny, the letters A and M in America are spaced apart, a decent little gap between them. But on the rare close AM error, the and M are almost touching. This variety happened because the mint accidentally used a proof die, meant for special collector coins, on regular circulation pennies. A simple mix-up, but it created one of the most sought-after modern errors. If you're hunting for a valuable 1992 D Lincoln penny, here's exactly what you need to check. White heavy check mark. Look for the D mint mark under the year 1992 on the front. White heavy check mark. Flip it over and focus on the word America. Are the and M almost touching? White heavy check mark. Check the fine details. A genuine close AM coin will also show a sharper, crisper design overall. White heavy check mark. And don't forget, a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC can confirm if you've found the real deal. Many fakes and altered coins exist out there, so getting expert authentication is key. Alright, now to the part everyone's been waiting for. How much is it worth? In average condition, a 1992 D close AM penny could fetch several $1,000s, even upwards of $10,000. But here's the kicker. In pristine, mint state condition, one of these coins sold for over $20,000 at auction, and some experts believe if a perfect specimen were to surface today, it could easily command prices near, or even above, $1 million in a private sale. Not bad for a penny, right? It's the ultimate example of small but mighty. So why all the fuss? It's a perfect storm, extreme rarity, a fascinating mint error, and increasing demand among collectors. The 1992 D close AM penny is believed to have only a tiny handful of surviving examples, fewer than 20 known to exist in high grades. And with more and more collectors entering the hobby, competition is fierce. People are willing to pay top dollar for a piece of modern numismatic history. So, the next time you're sorting through old coins, don't just glance at the year, flip it over. That 1992 D penny you almost tossed into a vending machine might just be your ticket to an early retirement. And remember, the details matter. Pay close attention to those tiny design features, because in the world of coin collecting, it's the small things that make a big difference. 2002 Lincoln penny with an O mint mark. You might just have one of the most valuable pennies out there, worth millions. Sounds unbelievable, right? Stick around to find out why this small coin can pack such a big punch in the world of rare coins. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, because today, we're diving deep into the fascinating story of the 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Before we get into the real details, let's talk about the basics of the 2002 Lincoln penny. The penny has been a staple of American currency since 1909, when it was first introduced to honor Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday. Over the years, the design has changed, but one thing has always remained: the Lincoln penny is a symbol of American history and pride. In 2002, the U.S. Mint issued a penny with a design that's familiar to most of us: Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's where things get interesting. This particular year, the 2002 penny came in a few different variations. Normally, you'd find a mint mark on most pennies, signifying which mint facility produced them. But for some mysterious reason, a small batch of pennies from 2002 was struck without a mint mark, making them extremely rare. So, what's the deal with these no mint mark pennies? In 2002, the U.S. Mint was producing Lincoln pennies at several mints across the country, specifically the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Coins from the Philadelphia Mint typically have no mint mark. But here's the kicker: this 2002 penny with no mint mark was actually supposed to come from the Philadelphia Mint, which is why you'll see these coins without a mint mark at all. However, what makes this no mint mark coin so intriguing is the fact that it was mistakenly released to the public despite not being from a normal Philadelphia batch. This led to speculation that maybe, just maybe, this was a rare error coin. Now, let's dive into why this tiny mistake ended up making these coins so valuable. Visually, the 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny doesn't look much different from any other penny you might have lying around. It still features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, that's the front side, and the reverse side depicts the iconic Lincoln Memorial. But here's the thing: the absence of a mint mark is what sets this penny apart. Most Lincoln pennies will have a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia, and sometimes an S for San Francisco, depending on where they were minted. However, the lack of a mint mark on a penny that's supposed to have one, or at least be accounted for, makes this particular coin a rarity in the world of numismatics. Now, let's talk about the big question. Why is this seemingly simple 2002 penny worth so much money? The answer lies in rarity and demand. While most 2002 pennies were minted in vast quantities and are worth just 1 cent, this rare variation has a much higher value. A 2002 Lincoln penny with no mint mark can be worth upwards of $1.5 million, depending on its condition. Not all 2002 pennies were produced without mint marks, and the ones that were made without this identifying mark are incredibly rare. In fact, it's believed that only a handful, if any, of these no mint mark pennies made it into circulation. The scarcity of the coin is what makes it so valuable to collectors. Coins with errors or unusual characteristics are highly sought after in the numismatic community. The 2002 no mint mark penny is considered an error coin, and collectors go wild for these kinds of rarities because they represent a unique moment in history, a coin that was struck yet didn't follow the usual minting process. As with all coins, condition plays a huge role in determining value. A 2002 no mint mark penny in pristine condition could command a much higher price than one that's worn and damaged. Coins with sharp details and minimal wear are more valuable because they're considered closer to their original state. So, where do you find a 2002 no mint mark penny? Well, you might be lucky enough to stumble upon one in your loose change or find it while browsing through rolls of pennies. However, given its rarity, the chances of casually finding one in circulation today are slim. But that doesn't mean you can't keep searching. Some people have found their rare treasures just by being diligent and paying attention to the details. If you think you might have a 2002 no mint mark penny, don't just toss it into your jar and forget about it. Take it to a professional numismatist or coin appraiser. They can verify whether it's a legitimate no mint mark coin and give you a rough estimate of its value based on its condition. And remember, you want to keep it in excellent condition. Don't clean it. Cleaning can lower its value, so let the professionals handle any cleaning or preservation. There you have it. The 2002 no mint mark Lincoln penny, rare, valuable, and a true gem for collectors. If you think you might have one of these pennies, now's the time to check it out and potentially make a small fortune. Before you go, don't forget to like this video if you found this info helpful and subscribe for more coin-related tips and discoveries. Have you ever found a rare penny or coin? Drop a comment below and let us know your story. I'd love to hear from you. 2017 P. Abraham Lincoln penny. It's a coin that flew under the radar for most people, but it's got some serious worth hidden behind that simple, familiar design. Stick around as we break down why this seemingly ordinary penny is worth millions. Let's start with a bit of history. The 2017 P. Lincoln penny is not your typical coin. In fact, it's part of a special series. This penny was minted to commemorate the 225th anniversary of the U.S. Mint, which first opened its doors back in 1792. The P mint mark on this coin tells us it was produced in Philadelphia, the very birthplace of U.S. coinage. But what makes the 2017 P. Lincoln penny stand out from the rest? Well, it was the very first time in over 30 years that the U.S. Mint placed a mint mark, specifically the P, on the Lincoln cent. While most coins minted in Philadelphia go without a mint mark, this coin proudly displayed it, making it a unique find for collectors. Now, let's talk about its features. The 2017 P penny looks pretty similar to the ones you might find in your pocket, featuring the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln by Victor D. Brenner on the obverse, and the familiar Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But it's the mint mark that gives this coin its rare status. If you take a close look at the reverse side, you'll see the P mint mark just to the right of the date, just under the E in Liberty. It's a simple detail, but for coin collectors, it's a huge deal. So, how did a small letter make such a big difference in the value of this penny? Here's where things get interesting. While the 2017 P penny was supposed to be a regular release, there was a major issue that caught the eye of collectors. Some of these pennies were struck with a slightly misaligned mint mark, or even with a worn-out mint mark. These errors make the coin even rarer and more valuable to the right collector. Error coins, like this one, are extremely sought after because they're not just rare, they're one of a kind. Collectors love finding these small mistakes because they add to the history and uniqueness of the coin. Now, here's the million-dollar question. Why is the 2017 Lincoln penny worth so much? Well, the value of this coin skyrocketed for a couple of key reasons. First, the fact that this penny was minted with the P mint mark for the first time in decades makes it a historical milestone. Second, those minting errors we just mentioned? They add serious rarity, and rarer coins often go for millions in the right markets. Some of these 2017 pennies, especially those with error marks, have been auctioned off for as much as $100,000. That's right, folks, $100,000 for a coin that cost just 1 cent when it was first minted. Now, while not every 2017 penny will sell for that much, a well-preserved example with minting errors or in uncirculated condition can certainly be worth a lot of money, especially if it's part of a rare collection. Want to know a secret? The key to these coins being worth millions is not just about finding them, it's about finding them in pristine condition. Coins that are graded well, like those with perfect strike and flawless surfaces, can sell for a premium. If you come across a 2017 Lincoln penny that's been well kept, no scratches, no wear, and if it has any of those minting errors, you could be looking at a piece that's worth a small fortune. So, how do you know if your 2017 penny is valuable? Here's a simple checklist. Look for the P under the E in Liberty on the obverse. Examine the mint mark for misalignment or blurriness, as these can add significant value. The better the condition, the higher the value. Keep your coins in good shape, and you'll see the reward. And don't forget, even a regular 2017 penny, in excellent condition, could fetch a nice price from the right buyer. Now that you know all about the 2017 Lincoln penny, and why it could be worth millions, I want to hear from you. Have you come across one of these valuable pennies? Or maybe you've got some other rare coins lying around?